Okay.
I'm fishing Lake Gunnersville on Saturday.
Oh, nice. You'll enjoy that.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're going to take the kids down. Right. Hey, lead heads. Welcome to this episode. I am your host, Amy Hall. And here's Lefty, my co-host.
Well, thank you, Amy. I really appreciate you having me on the show today. It's an honor.
I'm so glad you could join us, Lefty.
Well, I'm glad I could too. And thank you for, again, taking the time. I know that you've been traveling quite a bit here in the last couple of weeks.
I have. I've been in West Tennessee hunting some rabbits with some beagles and some Marines, some former Marines, and then headed over to Texas. Rabbits and Marines. It was a great weekend. It was a great weekend. And then Texas to get a truck and back. So it's been a full couple of days.
You've had a full week. Hunting and not only rabbit hunting but truck hunting. So I want to hear about that truck here in a little bit too.
We'll talk about it. But we've got Karen Butler with us today.
That's right.
Hey, how y'all doing? I recently bought a truck too, but not the kind you might think.
Oh, well, we just may talk trucks today. So
we might have to. I want to hear about this.
But Karen is with Shoot Like a Girl. That is an organization that empowers women in the shooting industry. And we want to find out more about shooting like a girl from Karen. And we want to hear more about Amy and all that too. But first, we got to thank those that make this show possible. So make sure you go and show a little love to KelTec, keltecweapons.com. We had Chad on a few episodes ago talking about the new P50 that KelTec has out and available. I'm sure it's covering all over the web. You just Google it and you'll be able to find it. And of course, you can go to their website, keltecweapons.com. And Mission First Tactical, use that code LEADHEAD at Mission First Tactical, and you're going to get 25% discount code. In my latest video that I did shooting those Firebird exploding targets, I had my Lead Head Brigade 30-round magazine that Mission First Tactical makes, a really good magazine. Had our logo on there, and they could put your own logo on there. You can get a Lead Head Brigade logo on there. Just tell them what you want. Of course, there'll be a little extra cha-ching for that little service. But yeah, so we'll talk more about some of our other sponsors as we get into the show. I know that you guys are limited on time. I know Amy is, so we want to go ahead and jump into this. And but before we get started, as always, we have that Jackwagon train that rolls in. So let's let Gunny bring that train in, Amy.
Yeah, I heard it.
The choo-choo train comes in.
You hear Gunny calling that train in?
Hoorah, Semper Fi, do or die, hold 'em high at 8th and I. It is time for the Talking Lead Jackwagon of the Week, so brace yourself, baby.
Here it comes.
I met Gunny, and my husband was deployed. He was a Marine Corps First Sergeant, and it's the only thing I stopped all my meetings to stand in line to get Gunny's autograph. And when I got to him, I was like, so I'm here on behalf of an entire company of Marines that need your autograph. So he's like, I'm not signing that many.
I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, Gunny was a great guy.
Mm-hmm, he was.
We miss him dearly. So the train has stationed, and not only are we going to take care of some Jackwagons, but we've got to honor some heroes too in this segment, as you guys know. Would either of you ladies like to start us off on the Jackwagon train, or should that be me?
I don't know if it's necessarily a Jackwagon because it's still quite up in the air investigation wise, but we had that
let's talk it through.
Over. We had that shooting over at Reelfoot this weekend, and that was a tough one to take.
Well, tell me about that because I haven't heard about that.
There, 2 young men were killed in a duck blind this weekend on Reelfoot Lake, and there are still a lot of speculations and a lot of investigations, so I don't want to push in a lot of the conspiracy theories of it, but it's still a horrible situation.
So is it looking like it was not an accident, not a hunting accident kind of thing?
Oh, it was definitely not a hunting accident.
Okay.
Somebody came into a blind and shot 2 young men, and there was one witness, and he tried to get them to help, but there was not enough time. So
yeah. Well, that's never
we
good.
don't know the specifics of it or anything like that, but at any point in time, and this kind of goes along with gun safety and all of that, that should be last resort. In a safety situation, it should never be something that you run into doing, whether you're frustrated or upset or whatever the cause of this was. It was unnecessary and unneeded, and 2 lives were lost, and it's not okay.
Nope, it never is okay.
I think that the shooter is still at large.
I'll have to do some more research on that one, and we'll follow up on another episode on that one.
Yeah, I was.
But
just
interesting, I hadn't heard about that.
Ago. Yeah, I was just hunting there parked in the same parking lot and everything. But
I bet you're probably going to find that there's probably something else tied to it. Jealousy or drugs or something.
Planned? So Reelfoot is private, but there are blinds that people own, and then there are blinds that people draw. And so it's a little bit of hit and miss. You've got youngsters out there, and you've got people out there that have been out there their entire lives. So we just don't know the specifics of it, but it just hits close to home, and that community is hurting right now.
It's crazy. I hate criminal.
Yeah. Yep. So
do you want to go, Karen, or do you want me to go with this one?
Well, you can go because mine is a little less.
Okay. So mine actually comes to us from Drew, who's been on the show several times. You guys know Drew. It's Oklahoma lawmaker proposes Bigfoot hunting season. And this article is from Field and Stream, so you guys can go and look it up. But that's it's by Bill Heavy, Heavey. It said, should Oklahoma have a Sasquatch season? Some poo-poo the idea as ridiculous. Others say that it's their God-given right to hunt the hairy creature. So, this is State Representative Justin Humphrey. He's calling for a Bigfoot hunting season complete with dates, regulations, and tags.
Wow.
I potentially see this being as a nightmare train wreck.
It's like a gag gift that you could get. I don't even know if this Spencer's back in the day. You just go buy a gag gift.
Yeah. But
there's a $25,000 prize for it if you find one.
If you capture him alive, he's proposing to offer a $25,000 reward, which I think there's probably bigger rewards out there already anyway.
I agree.
If you find Bigfoot. But the fact that he's promoting that people go out and shoot him and kill him and hunt him, I mean, that's really what he's promoting. Right. But he's also promoting government intervention, again, bringing the government in, government regulation, government taxes, which we definitely don't need. But look at Bigfoot. What pictures of Bigfoot have you ever seen? He's always human-like, right?
Right.
So you get a bunch of these crazy people that have no experience hunting coming in, buying these licenses, buying these tags, no experience with guns or shooting, but, have that, I'm going to be the one that gets Bigfoot kind of deal. And then you end up with situations like, I think it was the last episode that you were on with me, the father and the son that were hunting, and the father, just shot the silhouette and didn't know the target that he was shooting. We're going to end up with a lot of homicides, a lot of killings, a lot of people shooting each other.
Yeah, this does not sound like a good idea.
Which will ultimately lead to the end of hunting and them banning hunting. So this is a horrible idea.
Agreed.
Have somebody out there in a ghillie suit, just...
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's asking for trouble. And like you said, it's setting the hunting community up to be looked at as not just something to be afraid of, but as a joke, right? It's not.
It's a bad idea. This is a train wreck. And it's real. It's going to be. It was introduced in House Bill 1648, January 5th. So.
And what's that?
In Oklahoma.
So Oklahomans, that's your tax dollars hard at work right there.
Right.
Yeah, Mr. Humphrey, Representative Humphrey, there is really got your best interest at heart.
Oh my goodness.
His idea behind it is that it would promote more tourism. More people coming to their state, spending dollars, which I have no doubt that it probably would, but you're also, for the reasons that I just mentioned.
Right.
And you mentioned horrible idea.
Yeah. That's a good one.
So there's my jackwagon. Actually, it's Drew's. So thank you, Drew, for sending that. Okay.
So you want mine?
We want yours. Hit us.
So I'm going to kind of stay in the theme of shoot like a girl. We meet women all across the United States. And my jackwagon is when we have their helpful loved ones come up and tell us that their lady friends can't rack a slide.
Oh my goodness.
It drives me nuts. It is unfortunately a common theme among some helpful loved ones that their loved ones their women folk are too weak to rack a slide. And so we teach a technique that shows them that they can rack any slide on our trailer. And it's really fun to watch them overcome. They've been told they can't do it. Mm-hmm. They think they can't do it. They're not taught the right way to do it. And suddenly we teach them the right way to do it. And the pride and the look that comes on their face is so incredible. It's a lot of fun, but it really just drives me nuts when people come up and tell other people they can't really do anything, because you put your mind to it, you can do just about anything. And of course, women can rack a slide. We've with the exception, so we've had over, I think we're close to 30,000 women now through our program. We've had 5 not be able to rack a slide, and it's because they were so riddled with arthritis that their hands just don't work anymore. And then there's options for them with that even. So yeah, women can rack a slide. I'm here to tell you.
I love to see the people, the face that those loving, helpful family members would make when they rack that slide the first time. Right.
Well, I have to tell you what normally happens, because people think that they have that attitude because they're anti-women or they want to treat them, and it's not. They're trying to be helpful. They're trying to make their loved one as successful as they can. Mm-hmm. And so what normally happens is we end up giving them instruction as well and teaching them our techniques so that they can go home and work, at the range with their partner and get the. It's
a good opportunity to educate everybody.
It's kind of cool to watch their transformation. We've yet to have a helpful loved one, a man, walk away and not be really just grateful, especially right now. We just spent the last year, we started touring again, and as soon as the president said the United States is open back up, we went. And it took us a lot of different things to do with COVID. We had to limit the number of people inside our trailer. And so I keep saying our trailer, but inside the trailer, it's a mobile shooting range with an Inveris training solution system. It has recoil, impact, and sound. And it's the closest you can shoot to a real
And we're going to talk about that. And that's a cool rig, which is one of the reasons why prompted me to have you on. I got that email that you guys sent out about your new rig, and that's going to be something awesome to talk about. Let's take care of a couple more jackwagons here.
Okay.
And then we'll do some heroes, and then we'll get into it. This one comes from Lead Head Jason, and it says, maybe a jackwagon, maybe not. So I'm not sure if this is a nomination or not. Just on my mind, I really don't care if you add this or not. Well, I'm adding it. So I have a good friend that less than 2 years ago went with a dream of his to open a gun shop. I supported him as soon as he told me about it. Shared it out started out on his property as a sunk. Oh, he sunk everything into it. So he started off on his own property, sunk everything into it. Blood, sweat, tears, work. Started small, and I have helped him with bringing stuff from my personal collection to add to his inventory. Business was booming. Then, COVID hit. I mean, this is like every small businessman's probably story here. He is the guy that doesn't raise prices when everyone around is doing it. He had a good supply, but as time went by, we all know that it was hard for anyone to get stuff in. So, again, I decided to bring in a few more things so he could have inventory and keep the lights on. Well, that was awful nice of you.
Mm-hmm.
All snatched up. I just wish I could do more for him, but I can't. It's hard to see him get down and see his dreams slip away. He just started out and doesn't have connections like other shops that have been doing this for years. Again, I know it's the same for every shop owner, but this is my friend. Anyway, this China virus and liberal agenda pushers get 2 middle fingers and a ride on the train, and all those gun owners that sit back and do absolutely nothing to protect our right need to wake up. But it might be too late. It's never too late. At the least, send a few dollars to a pro 2A group to do the fight for you. Lead Head Jason.
Kind of sounds like a mixture of Jackwagon and Hero right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was getting that from him and his buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Both definitely heroes for living the dream and trying to do it in the 2A community, but then also, it's just tough for everybody, not just the 2A community with this virus. There's every kind of small businesses is dropping left and right.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, after traveling the country all last year, it's disparate from state to state. And so it is so crazy how one state has everything open. You'd never even know COVID existed except for face masks and, a request to social distance. And you get into other states and like everything is locked down tight and shut down. It's terrible how different it is from location to location.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah. Well, we're fortunate here, Amy, in Tennessee.
Yeah, we really are. I was talking to a buddy actually yesterday who lives in Quebec, and both of his businesses have been shut down since March of last year.
Quebec, Canada? Because there is a Quebec, Tennessee. That's where my farm is.
This is Canada.
But we call it Quebec.
Quebec.
So, we have property in Linville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. We're neighbors.
Yeah. But they, it's just, it's like you said, Karen, it's different completely all the way around. They're under I think that they have to be in their homes from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. since last March.
In Canada?
That's because that's when the virus lives. Like it dies after those hours.
Yeah, during the night. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. It's just terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this one comes from Leadhead David, and it's not really a jackwagon. I think he's just trying to disseminate some information to you, Leadhead. It says, Lefty, my son is very well read on the subject of suppressors, which I just recently got a new one from Atlas Defense. I've been making some posts and whatnot on that. A few days ago, he turned me on to Pew Science. Jay, the owner of the site, has a very different take on analyzing their performance. He also has created a rating system for the various suppressors on the market. It makes good sense. I figure you have heard of him. No. But I wanted to tell you anyway, and I appreciate that. I'm going to have to check that out. Pew Science. Still enjoying the podcast, David. P.S. He doesn't like AKs, but don't hold that against him. Well, I'm an equal opportunist gun enthusiast. I like them all. They're all good to me. I've got another one here that I got to find it. Do you guys have? Let's talk about some heroes now. Do you guys have a hero? Let's talk about some heroes. Let's get into our hero. That's enough jackwagoneriness.
Well, I have a hero. It kind of goes with the jackwagonry thing, though. So one of my pet peeves, I'm from a military family. My husband's a Marine. My son currently just arrived in Qatar yesterday. He's deployed, and my other son was in the Navy. Long tradition of military service. And so I really think that a hero is anyone that's willing to sacrifice their safety and their security for us. Mm-hmm. And there's so many out there right now, from healthcare workers to law enforcement to our military. And I would just say that, to me, those are the ultimate heroes. And I appreciate that there's other people that are doing great things. But those people that are willing to lay down their life to protect us and to protect our way of life and our freedom, oh my gosh, those are heroes.
I agree.
Yeah. And those are my favorite.
I second that motion, and yes, absolutely. Military, LE, first responders. Absolutely.
Yeah, my husband probably is like my biggest. I'll tell you a story about my husband. So we were long time ago when we were checking out these systems, and they have scenarios where you can go in and do like the shooting things, and they do scenarios like a school shooting. And my husband's doing the scenario as the training, and he's going through, and I know he's a big bad Marine. That's all right. I got it. Well, he goes in and they don't tell you what you're supposed to do. And he's not law enforcement, so he doesn't really know exactly what to do. But the character in the scenario grabs a school teacher and has a gun at the head. And the trainer says, "What are you going to do?" And the next thing I know, there's one round center punch the guy in the head.
Oh, my gosh.
Virtually, I tell you, everybody.
Right.
And the guy dropped, and I'm like, I've never felt so safe in my whole life. I'm good.
Yeah. Yes.
It's pretty incredible. Honestly, when you think about the kids that are enlisting today, and really the kids that are joining the law enforcement today, or healthcare, like, you're going in knowing that, okay, this is really dangerous now, 10 times more than it might have been 5 years ago.
Yeah, you're going in and with people hating you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
How about you, Amy? You got a hero?
I've got a local hero. Our local hospital here has, for the past couple of weeks, so since Christmas was over, they requested everybody in our local area to leave their Christmas lights up for our frontline nurses and doctors. And I don't know, I am probably a little bit of a procrastinator taking down.
I was going to say, it's not too hard of an ask for people here in Tennessee, because they.
No, we
it's
leave
usually
them on
like
all year
Valentine's Day or after before they take them down.
But I like. We might not turn them on. We might leave them up for a certain amount of time, but we've been leaving them on. And I think it's just been a great way to show our thanks and our appreciation for them in a bright and colorful way.
I like that. That's great.
That
And
nice.
who recommended that?
That was, what is our local hospital? It's the one right here in Smyrna, Tennessee.
In Smyrna? Okay. Good for them.
Yeah.
I like that. All right,
I
so
was excited.
I found the email. This is from Lead Head Brett B. I'm sure we probably have more than one Brett that listens to the show, but you'll know who you are when I read this. And it's a two-parter one. One of them is going to be for the AK Corner when we do the AK Corner next episode. But then this next part, I think, fits in perfect with what we're doing here. And I'll just jump into it. He says you don't have to read what's below, but I'm going to. So this will not live out its life as a safe queen. And that gets into, we are currently using AR for our rifle in matches in which we shoot a rifle. My daughter and I shoot matches in eastern North Carolina. We are both certified range safety officers. Awesome. And work matches to help offset match fees. Very cool. Prior to 2020, we typically finished middle of the pack, and both of us said we wanted to get better, finger quotes. Out of over 30 matches in 2020, that's a lot. We both have earned second place more than once and a handful of top 5s and 10s this year alone. Congratulations. We have also done 2 night matches with local high-speed guys from nearby bases. She is an avid Russian history buff and can talk with anybody about World War II through the space race. So earlier this year, I used my work bonus to buy her a Kalashnikov KP 9mm. Jessie, which is her name, has given up her time on 2 weekends this year to teach other women how to shoot and some special events in 2020. On top of this, she is an honor roll student in her second year of early college. She just had her 16th birthday on December 22nd.
Wow.
2-year college, and she's 16. She's a genius.
That's amazing.
He sent in a picture, too. He says, I took an image below, getting her ready to shoot a stage with her KP9. I asked her if she was ready. And if you look at the picture, she's just like, she's got an intense look on her face. Says, I don't know about you, but she looked ready to me. Yeah, she looks like she tore it up. Also posted a couple of recent score sheets. So very good. So I am putting both Lead Head Brett and Jesse on Lead Force One as our Lead Head Brigade Heroes. So very good.
Awesome.
Promoting, spreading, the goodwill of our community. So that's awesome.
Well, and seeing somebody so young too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And
amazing.
smart. 16, and she's already, 2 years? Is that what we said? 2 year? Second year of early college.
Mm-hmm.
And she likes history, and we need kids to like history so that we don't repeat this crap later. We study it.
So those are my heroes, definitely.
I'm more of the positive optimist, so I love hearing. I like that you do the Jackwagons first and the heroes after, just because I like to close that out with.
Yeah, you end on a good note. Mm-hmm. A good note, and that was I used to just do the Jackwagon Train, and then it was a lead head that recommended, like, hey, won't you have honor heroes too and balance it? I was like, you know what, that's a good idea. So I had a contest for the lead heads. All right, here's a contest, and name the segment and name the vessel that they'll be getting a ride on. And there was anything from limousines to like a motorcade to, and I let them vote on it, and they picked Lead Head Brigade Heroes and Lead Force One. Now the pilot of Lead Force One, I don't talk about him much, but there was a whole slew of people that were up for nomination for the pilot, like Chuck Yeager, the guy from Independence Day, Cousin Eddie, whoever that guy was.
Yes.
They had him up for the pilot, and the ghost of Charlton Heston was nominated, and that's who won. The ghost of Charlton Heston won as the pilot of Lead Force One. So my lead heads have a sense of humor. I love it.
Yes, they do.
So I think that's a good one to end on. Let's end on that. I want to get into talking about Karen and Shoot Like a Girl, your organization. So Karen, talk about Shoot Like a Girl, how this came about, how you got involved, what started you in this.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So I am married to Todd now, but I was previously married, and I, as a youth, never shot. I didn't even know shooting sports was a thing. I thought only military and police had guns, and that was it. And when I was in my late 20s, I found myself in a bad time in my life. I was getting divorced. I had 2 young boys, and my friends are like, "We're not going to let you sit around and mope. We're going to take you shooting." And I was like, "You're going to take me what?" No. And camping, by the way. And so I woke up one morning on the backside of Pikes Peak Mountain, and I walked out, and I took it. It's the first time I felt like everything was going to be okay. And then they had guns and bows, and I never will forget, we were shooting a Gatorade bottle, and I shot the Gatorade bottle, a little orange cap popped off. And I just kept drilling that cap. And every time I hit that cap, it was like a feeling that I hadn't had about myself in forever. I felt good about myself. It was self-satisfying, and I grew in confidence. And I had a professional career. I worked for the Army as a civilian, and I was very put together, so to speak, and didn't even realize I'd lost my confidence. And shooting sports helped me regain it. And then they had bows. And I shot a bow too, and I was really good at it. And so my kids spent 1 week with their dad and 1 week with me, and that was great for my kids, but sucked for me, honestly, as a mom. And so I had negative $22. I took my credit card. I went, and I'll never forget that. Like, it's going to be a chapter.
Negative 22. Yeah, that's
negative
awesome.
$22. And I took my credit card and I bought myself a bow. And I found this whole new family of shooting sports enthusiasts that took me in, and I just started shooting. And every day when my kids were with their dad, I'd go to the range, and it really just became my passion. And I felt like every single woman, if they had the chance just to try it, not to spend days at it, not to spend hours, a few minutes, just try it, just pull the trigger, hit the target, and feel good. And they would become participants. And that was my theory. And we launched the company. I launched the company in 2008. And we've been at it ever since. And it's gone great. And the theory works. We have 76% of our guests, because they're free. We're a business. We're a for-profit business.
Okay,
allegedly.
I was going to ask, yeah.
Yeah. I always say allegedly. But we don't charge our women for anything. We don't charge them for our newsletter. We don't charge them to go inside the trailer and shoot. We do all that through the help of our generous corporate partners. And that's really a big key to me, because you're not going to try something new. If I'm like, oh, you're going to love shooting, come on, it's just $5.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not giving you $5 to go try something new. But when it's free, they are very interested. So it's just been great. We've been able to grow the number of women in shooting sports. We've had that same impact that I had when I got a shot. We get testimonials all the time of women who really thought they couldn't do it, or God forbid, we've had many women that were victims of gun violence or saw gun violence. Mm-hmm. And, you think about the courage, talk about heroes. It takes a lot of courage to overcome a fear like that. Mm-hmm. And they go in and they participate with us, and then they become shooting sports enthusiasts. And just because they get to look at it from an entirely new light. And so that was a theory. We started out archery for a few years, and then added this trailer one, which was pulled with a Ford F-350. And then I bought a Freightliner a few years later and upgraded our trailer to a full-size trailer. And I just bought my truck. I bought a brand new Freightliner, which I'm so excited about, because it was it's like a top of the line Freightliner. It's used. It's got about 250,000 miles on it, which for a semi is low. But it's really great truck, and we got it wrapped in true timber and Bass Pro Shops and Cabelas, and it looks badass. Pardon my language.
It does. No, it's really badass.
Totally, and it deserves it right there.
Now, you said when you first started out, it was archery. You focused on archery. Was it just local where you were, or how did you?
No, I traveled to Las Vegas, so it's always been traveling. So when I started out, I knew that archery, because I became an archer. So like I shot. I don't want to be one of those people that like back in Iowa, but I won the Colorado State Championship when I lived there back in the day. And because archery became really my second life. And so I'd go to all these tournaments, and there'd be women spectators there, but not women participants. Mm-hmm. And so I knew that if I took this concept to where women already had a kind of introduction into shooting sports, they'd be more willing. And so we went to archery tournaments all across the country. My husband was deployed, so my dog Casey and I would load my husband's truck up with bows, targets, and buckets of T-shirts. I have a bucket fetish. I'm sorry, like those little tubs. But we took them all I'd like
those things you get at Walmart, those big plastic
like
tubs?
A Rubbermaid bucket.
Yeah.
Like I think I've bought buckets every year of the company. But we just I didn't have partners. People really, the industry said it's a good idea, but we're not giving you money for that. Mm-hmm. And so literally the first 4 years of the company, we paid our way through our T-shirt sales, and we were lucky that people really enjoyed our T-shirts and liked the attitude. Shoot like a girl's not supposed to be, look at me, I'm a girl. Right. It's really supposed to be an attitude of, yeah, that's right, I'm a girl. And we don't want to be, we don't try to be better than men either. We really appreciate our male counterparts in our lives, and we just want to be able to try it and do it as well. So anyhow, that started archery, and then when we added firearms, we kind of exploded because the reach. And then recently, in the last since the 44 president, I guess, we had gun sales going out the roof, and people concerned that their guns rights were going to get taken away. And it really is a very diverse group of women that come in, and they're all concerned about their personal safety and their ability to protect themselves. Yeah. And so, although I never started Shoot Like a Girl with that thought of becoming, somebody's step to defend themselves, it's really what we've become. And we're kind of the trusted source, I think, for women right now in the industry, as getting, good, solid information on how to be safe with their firearm, how to be safe when hunting, how to enjoy hunting, and how to go out and shoot a bow and have a good time at it. So it's a lot of fun.
So this big new rig that you guys have, talk about the features and how you've got that set up, and
right.
Where are you going with that?
It's pretty cool. So you can find our schedule at shootlikeagirl.com/events. But we're going to 20 different locations this year. We're calling it our Home of the Brave tour. And we're doing another thing because companies should give back. And so this year, with every stop, we're going to go into that local community, and we're going to find a local charity for either law enforcement, healthcare workers, or veterans. And we're going to donate $100. It's not a lot of money, but it's enough to, it's what we can give back to the company. Sure. Communities that we go. But we're going all over. We start out in Fort Myers on 6th and 7th February, and it's going to be a great tour. The trailer, it's really the self-contained ability to shoot a gun, a pistol, a rifle, and a bow. So our participants walk in. We have NRA or USCCA and certified instructors that will walk them through they really introduce them. They're not giving them education that they can go out and be proficient shooters for the first time. It's an introduction. And so they get a chance to correctly shoot a pistol and a rifle. We use an AR platform, which we love. And then we live fire archery, but just like from 5 feet, so that they get a feeling of the power that they can actually draw that bow back and shoot it. And then outside, this is where the magic happens for our firearms industry. Outside of the trailer, we have a gun counter with all deactivated firearms. So they're not capable of firing a projectile while they're on our trailer. But ladies can go through and literally compare side by side. I think we have 13 firearm manufacturers right now, several of their firearms, and see what that's like for them. And then with COVID, I feel like I'm talking fast. With COVID,
no, you're fine.
We started a new procedure because we had to limit the number of people in the trailer. Used to, the trailer would be completely packed with those loved ones that are watching, their kids.
Is that of your own volition, or are you doing that per whatever state you're in?
Well, so we want to practice the social distancing. So, like whether I agree with what the requirements are or not, when it comes to my business, it really doesn't matter. I want to be respectful of anyone that may have an opinion they don't want to be they want to be social distanced. So most states have a capacity. So we're in a very tight container, like it's a 53-foot semi tractor trailer. And so there's not a lot of airflow in there. We have great air conditioning, but it's the right thing to do for the health and the protection of our staff and our guests. So they go in singularly now. So we have one person on the pistol and rifle side and one person on the archery side. So we'll have 4 people total. Then outside we have ladies waiting in line, socially distanced. But we were like, what are we going to do with these ladies while they're waiting here? Well, we started doing product demonstrations. And so it's really cool. So like our friends at Thermacell, we can do it. Like, have you all ever heard of a Thermacell? Or do you know how to clean a gun? Do you know how to lock your gun? We implemented all of these product demonstrations and kind of safety trainings that we can do. Talk a lot about pepper spray, which has been really cool because we added pepper spray this last year with Saber, and I tell you what, that's such a great tool for women. Like every woman should have a pepper spray. Every woman should have a gun.
I've got one. I got pepper spray.
Right? Yeah.
Everybody should have pepper spray.
It's good to have. Well, so we just had a little class, and Chuck, I'm not going to remember his last name, but one of the things you think about with pepper spray, you know, we walk out of a mall or we walk out of some area, and there's a point where you can no longer retreat back into the location and be safe, and you feel fearful. Well, you know, you're not going to draw your gun just because you feel fearful if you're carrying, but you could always have that pepper spray in your hand on your keychain ready to go at any second. And so it's a great, you know, kind of first deterrent to feel more safe and more secure, especially if you're on a college campus where kids can't take guns. Like, it's just a great thing for women to have. And a knife. I'm a big proponent. Every woman should have their own knife. Like, are
you going to add that to your shoot like a girl repertoire? You going to add knives?
Yeah, so we have a partnership with SLG knives, and I really want to do the same thing we've done for the gun industry in terms of knives. We're friends with the knife rights groups, and I didn't know that, you know, state to state, there's so many different.
Oh yeah.
Just my God, it's craziness. Yeah. It's craziness. But like literally, maybe not as an everyday carry for personal defense as a knife, but really as a utilitarian tool to be confident in what you're doing and have the ability to fix something if you want to, whether it's, you know, you've got a package and you want to open that package, or you know, have a splinter and you want to get the splinter out. I mean, it's a million uses for a knife. And I'm very, not that I don't appreciate men, but we should be independent and able to take care of ourselves if we have to, because unfortunately our loved ones aren't always around to be our heroes, right? So be your own hero, know how to do things yourself, and be confident.
Well, a knife is you know, such a small item to carry as well, and easy. But yeah, I mean, when you lose the ability for the pepper spray or the gun, it gets that close quarters. Then, you know, the knife is definitely something that comes in handy. So
I agree.
Yeah,
Karen, I have to say, going through I went just as a spectator, right? I just went through your booth and I went through the training, both with pistol, rifle, and bow. And I think one of the things that stood out to me the most was I was confident going in. I've shot a pistol, I've shot a rifle, I've shot a bow, but as somebody looking into it who might not have ever done that, the ability to go in somewhere and not be in front of a crowd, to not be all eyes on you, but just to be able to focus not on people watching you, but focus on what you are doing, what an instructor is showing you, and not feel like you are on display.
Right.
It made a huge difference. Just even for me, with the confidence that I already had, it made a difference walking in. It made me slow down. It made me listen more. It made me comfortable completely. But being also in that short quarters, being able to take a shot that's only 5 feet, or being able to do the gun shooting, to have success in that was also something that I took away with me as being something in a positive light. And I loved going through it. I loved the instructors that you had in there. I don't know, it was just something that it was encouraging to me to see that other women who, like you said, might be afraid of guns, that might not have an understanding of them, it was a safe place for them to do that. And so I appreciate the idea that you've come up with, and I see the value in it. So I'm glad that y'all do this.
Thanks very much. I have to tell you, so I did have a great idea, but what makes it work is really that team of instructors that we've put together. And, you know, we travel across the country. We we have enormous cost to our business. We fly 6 women in. We pay our instructors. We are a business, so we don't take volunteers. I'm a firm believer, men and women, but especially women. You should be valued for what you provide. You need to be paid for your work, and volunteering is great, but at some point, you also need to make a living or make a supplement living. But our instructors, they do it without being paid, all of them. But they are just incredibly talented at making each person feel like they're the most special person in the world at that very given time. And we're just very fortunate to have such great team of women instructors that work with us. And our chief of staff, Krista Forrester, she's been a great asset to our company. She's very highly credentialed instructor, but she also has a great business acumen. And I've been very fortunate to have her on the team. And it's just great. I always reflect back. I mean, I'm very thankful. I started out with my husband's pickup truck and a rickety rack of bows. And now I have all these magnificent corporate partners, a Freightliner semi-truck that's fully loaded, and a wrapped semi-trailer that really does a lot of good. But it didn't happen just because of me. It really was a great team of people, and my husband and my family that supported it. And it makes me nostalgic to think about where we've come, and to hear you say what an experience you had. It really makes me happy. I mean, it's great to have a business where you can actually change people's lives. We got on our door, we have changing lives one shot at a time. And I really think that's what we do at Shoot Like a Girl. We're all about just trying to empower those women. It's fun.
Well, and there's no rush, right? Each woman walking through that door has a different story. Each woman, whether they are somebody who has never experienced guns at all, bad or good, can walk through that door and feel comfortable. Someone who has experienced a negative, whether it is having a first responder in their home, or having a military family member who has lost their life, or there's suicide. There's so many different negative aspects to guns and bows that being able to walk through and not be rushed, have an instructor who can meet you where you are, because that is the key to it, is feeling out each woman as they come in and figure out where they are, and then meet them there and take it as slow or as fast as they can take it. And I think that is key, and your instructors do a great job of that.
Talk about the and you may have done this, and I may have missed it, test shots and test fights.
Yep. So test shots is the actual process of taking the shot with the pistol and with the AR platform rifle. And so literally we go over stance, grip, sight alignment, trigger squeeze, a little bit of breath control, how to rack the slide, how to, close the bolt on the AR. And then on the archery side, we teach a technique that helps people overcome what they think is a weakness to draw the bow back. And so we use some varied techniques that teach them to use their total back muscles to pull that bow back, instead of just trying to power through it with the strength of their arms. Yeah. Really, that's the same technique we use on racking a slide. But it really does... it really is cool to watch them. And it's not very long. It's 10 shots with the pistol, 10 shots with the rifle, and then as many arrows from as many different bows as we can get them to shoot. And then they're out the door to that gun counter, which that's
when they're doing the shots, you have a simulator that you're using, right? Mm-hmm. Talk about the simulator that you're using, because in today's environment, with ammo being as expensive as it is, a lot of people are wanting to get into, like the simunition or the simulated action of the firearms.
Check out Embarrass Training Solutions, because that's where our simulator comes down. It's a little expensive.
Spell that.
It's INVERIS.
Okay.
Embarrass Training Solutions. So that company has been making. They just renamed. So they've adopted a FAT system to another system to now this Embarrass but that's the system that the military uses. We use a untethered version. They have tethered versions. Sometimes it's as expensive as a house, but they do have some less expensive models. And it's a really good training tool if you use it as a training tool. The thing with when we bought that simulator and when we were just getting ready, so the trailer's leaving next week to go get a brand new one, which is exciting.
Nice.
But when we looked for a system, I really wanted a system that had 3 components. I wanted it to have shot recognition accurately. I wanted it to have sound, and I wanted it to have recoil. And there's a lot of systems that have 2 of those, but not very many systems have 3 of those. And if you really want a realistic scenario, you need to have all 3 of those in your portfolio. And it's just been incredible. It's a lot of fun. And now we don't get full recoil. So if we had tethered system, we'd get a little more recoil, but we get about 85%. But it's an actual frame of a Glock. Like it's not a toy.
Sure.
It really is the real thing. So and it operates the same. So for example, it's so intuitive. Let's say that during the process, the client or the guest racks the slide. She gets excited and she thinks, I'm going to rack the slide. Well, it ejects a round. And so the system knows that round was ejected. So it's now only going to shoot 9 rounds instead of 10 rounds. And so it's really it's cool. If you don't insert the magazine all the way, the firearm's not going to operate. So we can teach, making sure that magazine is seated in there. So it's fun.
Yeah. Very nice. So that really gives them a realistic feel and an opportunity for the guns. Like you were saying, you've got all those different models out there that they can, like trying on shoes, see which one fits your hand. That's what I always like in, finding your gun. It's just like finding a fair pair of shoes because everybody's got different size hands, just like that.
It's true.
You just said that, and that was my other. I know I don't want to go backwards, but my other. What's your thing you're mad at? What do you call that?
The Jackwagons.
Jackwagons.
The Jackwagon.
It's
I've
never too late to do a Jackwagon.
I've heard. Yeah. So the Jackwagon, it was for helpful loved ones to go buy their loved one a gun.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Don't.
That is a pet peeve of mine too, because they're trying to be helpful, but a gun, you wouldn't go buy shoes.
Go with them and buy them a gun.
Yes.
You wouldn't go buy them a dress.
No. Well,
buy them a gift card.
Yeah. Take them on the experience. Take them to a gun range where you can try out all these different kinds. Because, like you said, it fits 100% differently. My carry permit instructor had, I don't know how many he had laid out. And he was a family friend, which was an added benefit. But he said, we aren't leaving until we find what fits you and what you feel comfortable shooting. Because if you don't feel comfortable shooting it, you're not going to go out and shoot it. And then you're not going to be confident in it. You're not going to want to carry it. You're not going to want to utilize it. And then you have done all of this for nothing. Right. And you're not going to be safe. I mean, we've got all these safety measures put in place that you can have, but this is one that if you take the time and you put the time in and you find what you can use, you can actually really enjoy shooting.
We find that most of the ladies that buy for self-defense end up becoming recreational shooters. But we also recommend that they buy a 22 because you really, really need, if you've purchased a gun for personal defense, you really need to shoot it enough to where you build muscle memory. And most people, now especially with the ammo shortage, but previously, most people aren't going to go shoot their 9mm enough time to like average person to build that muscle memory. But you can build that same muscle memory with the 22 so that God forbid you ever have to use your firearm for self-defense. Your muscle memory will take over when your mind kind of goes into a little bit of panic. You'll be able to complete those tasks. And with a 22, with the rimfire especially, it's going to malfunction more than your center fire. And so if it does, you're going to learn what to do if you get a stovepipe. What do you got to do? Tap, rack, and go and get right back to it versus getting stuck and it doesn't go back. or you don't seat the magazine. So you keep your magazine and your ammo and your gun stored separately. You hear somebody break in the middle of the night and you go and grab your gun and you don't seat your magazine solid enough because you've panicked because there's a bad guy coming towards you. You have to practice a lot and build that muscle memory. And we stress that a lot at the trailer too. We really promote firearm safety as much as we can, because it's really the ultimate responsibility. And that responsibility lies solely on the gun owner. This is one possession that you have that is really all you. What happens to that firearm, how it's stored, if it gets stolen, it's all you.
What happens to those bullets?
Yeah.
After you shoot that bullet, you're still responsible for it.
Correct.
No matter where it goes.
Yep.
So
we stress that too.
So you guys are on tour starting in February. You're going to be in Fort Myers, Florida. Then you're going to go to Daytona, Florida. Then you're going to head on to Texas in March and April. And it looks like you're going to hit Wichita, Kansas. I call it Wichita.
Yeah. Wichita.
Wichita.
So I'm excited for that because we're doing a turkey hunt for Bass Pro Shops in Cabela's while we're there. So we did one of their experienced turkey hunts. So we're taking, I think, 8 ladies turkey hunting. It's going to be great.
That will be awesome. And then you're going to head on up to Iowa in May, Indiana in May. June, you're going to be in Georgia. You're going to be in Pennsylvania in June. July, August look to be open. I notice you don't have Tennessee on here. So we might need to work that out, girl.
We might need to work that out. So in July, we were waiting. So we'll be out at the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. We've got to get that updated. But we're going to go out to their elk camp. And the Total Archery Challenge is going on at the same time. And then we're just waiting. So I'm not going to go to where there's protest. And so protest and COVID are our 2 travel considerations. Yeah. And so like we were supposed to be in Portland last year, right when they took over the city.
Not a good idea.
I was like, no.
No. Let's see. And then September, you're going to be in Missouri and Colorado, New Mexico, in Texas back in October. So
we stay south in the winter and north in
I noticed that, yeah.
That's a good
That's
plan.
Smart. That's part of your travel consideration too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Not only the political weather, but the actual weather.
I do have a question. Depending on, do you get any punchback depending on states, or are you mostly welcome?
So I will tell you, in some of the most what we would consider anti-gun states, we have the biggest turnout because the people are thirsty for knowledge. They're thirsty for information, and they want to learn. It's unfortunate. That's kind of like the COVID restrictions. Honestly, it's very disparate how state to state people can purchase a gun and exercise their Second Amendment. And so we've learned a lot over the years about some of these states, and it's just a different situation. I always tell people, we've got room in Alabama. Come on.
It's just like when you tell your kids they can't do something and you forbid them to do it. Their curiosity just grows even more. They want to do it more. So when you show up in these anti-gun states, they're like, we don't see that very often. Let's go check that out.
Right. But that's another thing. I will tell you, it's just frustrating that the guns have such a bad reputation because we used to teach firearm safety in schools. And one of my favorite things to do at the trailer is talk to youth about gun safety. And I'll ask their parents first, can I talk to your child and can I ask them some questions? And so I tell them, I run a scenario like, okay, so you just, you play video games. And they're like, yeah, I play video games. I play Fortnite. Well, you know that one gun that really costs the most money? It's really cool. Yeah, the sniper. Yeah, you like that sniper, right? Yeah. All right, well, if you're at your friend's house and their dad or their mom just got one of those snipers and your friend says, come on in the bedroom, let's go see it, what are you going to do? And then we let the kid answer. Most of the time, the kid's not going to go in the bedroom. But then I say, okay, well, you're playing video games and your friend really wants you to see it. And he goes and gets that gun and brings it to you to show it to you. And then I'll hold my hand up with my finger pointing at them like it's a toy gun. And I'll say, he really wants you to see. He's saying, look, don't you like this gun? Look at it. What are you going to do? And the kids don't know all the time. That should be something that every kid should know. They should know that they need to run away, tell an adult, leave. Yeah. And so we get that opportunity time and time again, not only to educate them, but educate their parents. Because their parents are like, well, we have a gun at home, but they know not to touch it. Well, that's not enough.
That's not the answer.
Firearm safety. And our industry does such a good job of promoting it. But unfortunately, there's circumstances that we all know with social media, with the traditional media, that message isn't getting through the way it should. And so we really focus on firearm safety and sharing that message with as many people as we can so that they are safe, responsible gun owners. It's simple to do. Mm-hmm. It is very simple to be a safe, responsible gun owner, but you just got to get that information. And they're not getting it, not because they want to be unsafe or they just don't know.
Don't judge me in my background here. I don't know if you can,
you got back there?
If you can see. Don't judge me. I have no kids.
We have had neighbors who have reached out to us knowing that we are gun owners, and they have said, hey, can we come by? Can we come by? Because we don't have one, but we want our kids to know what it looks like. And we want our kids to know what safety around a gun looks like. And we have told our kids from day one, if there's a gun on the table, is it loaded or unloaded? What's the correct answer? And the correct answer is always it's loaded, always.
Yeah.
And it is, our kids are not curious about it because they've had their hands on it. They have been educated in it. It's not taboo. It's not, oh, let's go get it behind our parents' back. Yeah. It's because it's common knowledge. They know that if they want to touch it, if they want to learn about it, that we will create a situation right then and there where they can touch it, they can look through it, they can put it in their hands in a safe manner. And it's not this.
Let me ask you ladies this, and I may edit this out. It just depends on how it goes. But so, I mean, you think back in the early days, in the the 50s, and like sex education, and it was taboo, and they didn't really talk about it. There was no educational in the schools about it. But as the years progressed, it's in school now. It's like a mandatory thing, and they're handing out birth control, and stuff like that. Do you think that eventually firearms will get that sort of?
We used to have it. Eddie Eagle, the police local office would come in and they would go through the Eddie Eagle program and teach about firearms. And the NRA was founded on training, education, and safety, and then later came the political side of the NRA, but really their foundation is training and safety. When you look at their history, and that program is still one of the best programs out there. But
is it still being used in schools? No, it's not. It was taken out.
No, my grandson's turning 9 this month, and he knows about firearm safety. But when we first started talking about guns, he's being talked to differently about firearms in his classroom. And so it was just so frustrating.
But that was kind of my point about the sex is, the sex education, all that, parents were like, no, you don't talk to my kids about that. That's something that we do, and it's our responsibility. But eventually, it got indoctrinated into school curriculums and programs. And so what do you think that was a good thing that they did that with sex education? And
well, I think it's a great analogy. I think that no matter what, we really need to bring firearm safety training back to schools, or we need to have public safety announcements. So we have public safety announcements on drugs, on meth.
Maybe drugs would be a better example. There you go.
On sex, we have it on sex, right? We have STDs on TV all the time, talking about AIDS all the time, but we don't talk about firearm safety, and it's just frustrating. the people that aren't in favor of guns, those anti-gunners, they cloak themselves around firearm safety, but what are they really doing for firearm safety? That's really how you can look at an organization and know if this is one that I want to get behind or not, because they're not doing a thing for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Our industry, through the NSSF, through the NRA, through USCA, CCA, they all have great, yes, they all have great programs for firearm safety. I mean, a good book for really little toddlers is Julie Golub's book, A Gun is a Tool, I think, or something.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's a great little book. So one of the other things we do at the trailer, and Amy mentioned this with her kids, is the gun's always loaded. Mm-hmm. So I will take snap caps and I will load a magazine with 2 snap caps. I'll show the child, here's the magazine, and they can see the snap cap sitting on that. I'll put it in. If we pulled the trigger, this would eject, and that snap cap flies out. It ejects. It's gone. Now the slide's closed. I drop the magazine, but I hide the round, or I hide it so they can't see that it's empty. And I ask them, is the gun loaded or unloaded? And to see the shock on their face if they say unloaded, and then I pull it back and show that that round is in the chamber, that freaks them out. So it's a great little tool to do with your kids, is just,
But yeah, that's excellent. I like that. So at your trailers, do you just get women, or do you just allow women, or can children come and men as well?
So we have a 16-year age limit to shoot, only because it's an actual frame of a firearm, and we don't want them confused with what they have at home. Yeah. And we encourage their parents to get them involved, but that's really a parental decision, not a decision between me and their child. Men, we've had a lot of men. This last year we had a ton of men, because families are buying a firearm for home defense. And so we would let men and women shoot inside the trailer this last year. And we continue. We've never discriminated. We tell them, like, we have guys that want to come shoot, and they shoot all the time. And I'll be like, it's really to try to get women involved in shooting. But if you want to, you can. And most of them are like, no, we'd rather her go.
Right.
Most of them, yeah. But we let them shoot.
So was that everything that you want to talk about on that? I think we'll probably get to some of this stuff in the questions, and that'll lead to other stuff, too.
Did you not like the answer? Do you want me to answer?
I love the answer.
No, that was a great answer. Answer.
Yes.
So we'll go to some listener questions here. And first one comes from Dickie the Third, and I think several people have similar questions. So I have a daughter and a son. Should I take into consideration any differentiating approach? Didn't word that well. Anyway, what's the approach that you should take versus a daughter and a son on introducing them to firearms? Is it the different technique, or is it the same technique, would you say?
It's the same technique. I would encourage them, though, for racking a semi-automatic pistol, right? A lot of men will rack a pistol using their thumb and their index finger to pull it back, and a lot of women and girls don't have the strength. And so we teach the C-clamp, right, and a push-pull. That's the only technique difference. Otherwise, where safety is concerned, where proficiency is concerned, shooting sports is really the great equalizer in terms of ability. You don't have to be physically fit to be a competitive shooter. You could be an athlete and not be physically fit. You have handicap. There's so many ways to adapt. So I would not treat your daughter and your son different. Now, I would say if there's fear, though, like either one of your children could have fear, whether it's a boy or a girl, don't dismiss the fear, especially for wives and girlfriends. Yeah. Don't dismiss it. So if they say, I'm scared, our answer as gun owners and people that participate in the sport, there's nothing to be scared of, right? But that doesn't help them feel better. Right. And so when we have women at the trailer that are fearful, we acknowledge that fear. I say, good. I'm glad you're scared. That's going to help you be a more responsible gun owner.
Fear instills respect. So you respect the firearm that way.
Yeah, that makes us responsible. And, having a son and a daughter and taking them to the gun range, my daughter's a better shot than my son. She's more proficient in her ability to take a more perfect shot than my son is. And so I would say, don't have an expectation that she is going to be, or that he's going to be better than she is. Your expectation should be for both of them to be educated in shooting. And then whatever comes from that. But I think that expectations shouldn't be higher for one or the other or lower for one or the other.
Frijole Breeze. My 18-year-old daughter has hunted with me, been exposed to shooting since she was younger, and plans to own firearms herself as soon as she can. She knows the safety basics, but do you have any tips that an old fart of a father may have forgotten or may not think of, having had no experience being a young female?
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty easy, but I'm sure he knows these. Always treat a gun like it's loaded. Always keep your muzzle pointed in a safe direction. Always keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. And always know your target and what's beyond your target. It's that simple, folks.
Yeah.
And always secure your firearm when you are not using it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that if he's talking about, I mean, those are the basics, right? Those are anything on the side of that, I think would be comfort. Like what holster would work best for her in being able to use it in a safe manner. Like those are all the details that come from trying things out and things like that. But those basics, it's the same for everybody.
And that leads to my question is, when it comes to the gear, because the majority of the gear that's out there is designed for a male, male physiques and bodies. But I do know that there are more and more companies that are getting involved with female-specific gear. What are some of those companies that you've been dealing with?
So we work with crossbreed holsters, and they make a very comfortable holster for appendix carry.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, so one of my instructors, I used to hate to carry appendix just because I felt like when I sat down, that was just an uncomfortable feeling. Mm-hmm. And literally for women, just scooch that gun over more towards the center of your belly button. You can still draw easily, but that's a little tip, I guess. Yeah. But they make some belly band holsters as well. And then GTM Originals, the concealed carry off-body bags. Off-body carry is a big responsibility.
Yes.
Because you have to make that bag, that purse, you have to make it part of your body now. Like it cannot leave your body. It has to stay in your body. But these GTM Original bags, they've got steel straps and they have a pocket specifically identified that holds a holster velcroed in there. And so that makes it very safe for off-body carry. And it's a good option for some women that don't have.
I carry in a bag also.
Yeah. It's great. It's a great carry option.
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't think that anybody should be afraid of getting something and it not working and taking it back. Like find what works for you. And that goes back to don't buy it for your significant other. Go with them or encourage them to go and try out different things. But if you're buying online, it's kind of like buying clothes online. It's not always going to work. So don't be afraid to take it back. Don't be afraid to send it back and keep trying.
But you gotta train. So if that's gonna be your main mode of carry, then you've got to go to the range with that bag.
Yes.
And you have to go to a range that will allow you to do it, because a lot of ranges won't allow you to draw from your holster.
But so that's what draw fire is really great for in terms of having.
That's where I was headed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dry fire is always a good alternative when you can't do the live fire, and you can do it at home. But you got to follow the safety procedures. Amy, thank you for taking the time to be on. Appreciate it.
I wish I could stay longer. I have absolutely loved this conversation, Karen. Thank you.
You're welcome, Amy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Reach out to me on email. Let's get together. We're pretty close.
I know we are. We are.
So close.
Okay, y'all. We're so close.
Holler at me later.
Okay, bye.
All right, see you.
Bye.
She's great. I love her.
Mm-hmm, she is.
The bag carry. So, yes, definitely train the way you carry. And go to an environment that will allow you to do that, or if not, hey, I can see you now.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. You haven't been able to see me this whole time.
No, I haven't. It just now came on, so I don't know what with her camera was. I don't know. That was weird. But just like Karen said, dry fire training. We've talked about it on this show many, many times. It's a great use of your time, when you're at home, but you got to do it safety. There's safety procedures you got to follow for that too. But there's all these other companies that have these, like you said, that simulate the action recoil of a firearm. You can even use your own firearms, and you can do all this at home, safely at home. You just have to, be aware and make sure that you practice the proper safety rules. Yes, practice. Practice makes perfect. I don't think there were any, because most of them were basically, how do you train a man versus a woman, daughter versus a son. I mean, it's all pretty much the same there, I would say. This one, just somebody being a smartass. Who would win in a shootout, you or Lefty? So we've never shot together, so I would say Karen would.
I don't know what bow or gun. What is the fire?
What are we shooting? Definitely archery. You would kick my ass, and I would say 9 times out of 10 you'd probably kick my ass on accuracy shooting too. Now if we're doing a 12 pace and then turn and draw, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. No, not me. So I could not. So if I was a policeman, I would be dead 1,000 times over, because we shoot those scenarios, and by the time I pick out who the bad guy is, I am already shot. And so I would say you'd probably win in anything that was quick,
stressful, that had a stress level to it.
Fast, had but competition where you could aim and take your time and get your good sight picture. I'm pretty good that way.
Yeah, I'd say you'd kick my ass, no problem. But speaking of, we gotta get you to Nashville. So what's the criteria for? I know you said the weather and political, but what's other criteria that you choose your destinations?
We plan our schedule out every year with Bass Pro Shops and Cabela. So they're our major partner, and we go to their stores. So we do 17 events for them a year at stores, and we plan those out. We're working on 2022 now. We want to release that sooner than later. And we hope that we'll kind of go places that we haven't been. So we were in Nashville last year for the NWTF show. Mm-hmm. We would have gone back again this year. Unfortunately, that was virtual because of COVID. So hopefully we get back to those kind of big events where we can. So
you typically have it at the Cabela's?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In their parking lot kind of deal?
They're right up front, right under their front awning.
Do you go to any ranges?
So we haven't been to ranges in a long time. My husband and I are going to shoot the Gap and Grind this year, hopefully. We're going to go take a class up in your neck of the woods soon and learn that. I've not long distance shot a lot, so it's going to be fun. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, especially this past year, the numbers for gun owners or gun purchases according to stats, and I don't believe a whole lot in stats. I mean, they obviously can be skewed one way or the other, but they're up. They're way up. And a lot of those are brand new, never have owned a firearm before gun owners. Are you getting a lot of those in these areas that you're going? And what's the demeanor, would you say, of these people when they're coming to you?
So where I'd never have seen this before, the way we've seen it this year, it is they want to be responsible for their own safety. They are very concerned that the police budgets are being cut. that response times are going down, that violence, alleged violence, violent protest, all of those things, that their neighborhoods and their communities are not being as safe as they used to be. They have a perception, real or unreal, I don't know. I don't live in their neighborhood, but they have a perception that their neighborhoods are less safe than they previously were, and they want to be able to defend their lives and the lives of their family. And that's what we're seeing over again. We've had men this year bringing their wives in, like we've talked about gun ownership, like 65-year-old, 70-year-old people. She needs to have a gun now because we don't feel safe.
Yeah.
And I'm going to travel and I don't want to leave my wife alone unprotected. And so it's been very eye-opening in communities, in inner cities. We've had people from inner cities come and they tell us these tales about how the women of the community are getting together and they're secretly taking firearm education classes and going out and purchasing guns because they don't want their other community members to know that they're doing that. And so it's just been really eye-opening. And we're very fortunate because we're grassroots. We're a national company, but we're a grassroots company, and we get to talk to ladies from all over and their families. That was the other thing this year. It was families.
Yeah.
You know, where used to we'd have girlfriends come. This year it was really family units coming to the trailer. It was remarkable. And I think our industry has this incredible opportunity right now to bring people that might think differently than us on all different issues and bring them to that same common core of the Second Amendment and being able to protect themselves and their loved ones. I really think the only way that the Second Amendment is a political issue is to politicians. I think what I've seen,
no doubt,
people, it's not a political issue. You know, it's a right.
It's a weaponized political issue. Yeah, they've weaponized it.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't see it there in the communities that we've visited.
So would you say that one area of the country versus maybe another area of the country seemed more urgent to them? You know, that...
No, I think it was urgent everywhere.
Yeah.
Honestly, this year, past June, I would say it was really more urgent everywhere. I think it's the one thing that, I'll tell you this though. So if you watch the news all the time, and I really have stopped watching the news.
Yeah, I don't.
But people that watch the news all the time think that Americans are out there just hating each other.
Mm-hmm.
But what we didn't see that at all. We saw kindness, graciousness. We saw, you know, you could have a guy in a Trump shirt standing next to a guy in a Black Lives Matter shirt while their wives were inside the trailer and they're joking about what's going on inside. They were not angry and evil to each other. They were polite and kind to each other. And
right.
I think that the majority of Americans are polite and kind, and that we've just lost visibility because we're watching the media, and the media is reporting what they think is going to get them ratings, commercials. I don't
all the more reason why I think the quarantines, they've made them so urgent in our society now is like, if we keep them away from one another and we dictate and we tell them what's going on, then that's what's going on, rather than them getting out and actually seeing. Just like you said, you people get out in groups and it's a completely different story than what they're portraying on the news, and I think that plays a big part in it.
It reminds me of Al Jazeera, right? So when our troops went into Iraq, right, and that very quick in the first Gulf War, and there was the Secretary of Interior or something for Iraq, I forget who it was, but he's like, the Americans aren't here, they aren't here, they aren't here, and you see the troops rolling right behind
right,
them.
Yeah.
It was on live TV.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what I feel like our media is doing to us right now. They're trying to...
But that is exactly what they are doing. That is exactly what they are doing.
I don't think most Americans are falling for it. I think that we're just hearing that the minority is more vocal than the majority. I pray.
Yeah.
I pray.
Well, I think they have feared a lot more people that normally wouldn't be feared into complying with their quarantine and stay at home, and thus making it easier for them to dictate scenarios. But I think this is a great opportunity. I want to get back to my original question there about all the new gun owners that are out there, the first-time gun owners, and the diversity that you're seeing with a Trump shirt and a Black Lives Matter in your very, rig there in the back of your rig, getting along, talking. This is a great opportunity for us as the 2A community, which my listeners know this. I think that ours is the most diverse community there is, the 2A community, and always has been. But again, we're always portrayed as the Bubba Network, Good Old Boy Network, the militia, kind of mentality, want to take over, and anarchist, but that's not the truth. You prove it probably day in and day out with your truck by getting blacks and whites and the different age groups together. Of course, I know you limit 16 to whatever, but Muslims, Christians, atheists, everyone loves their 2A rights, and it's just not portrayed that way. But I think hopefully with all these new gun owners, there's going to be a different story to be told here in the in the next upcoming future. But it's up to us. This is our opportunity to welcome them in and share the range, share safety, and just share the range with everyone.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think there's diversity. I always tell people it's also stereotype diversity, right? And so it's not nice to stereotype people, but we kind of do. And so if you think about, for us, we've literally had city girls, country girls, we've had Jersey girls, you name whatever stereotype you want to think of a girl we've had in the trailer. We had a group of strippers come in Las Vegas one time. And then right behind them, we had a group of nuns. So I kind of tell people we've had strippers to nuns and everybody in between, and they all are just thirsty for knowledge and want to have an experience and have a good experience with shooting sports.
That would make a great picture.
Strippers to nuns.
If you could get the strippers and nuns together and do a picture. I want to know what your opinion is on gun bunnies in our industry. Do you know what I mean when I say a gun bunny?
Well, my husband rodeoed, and so there's a thing called the buckle bunny.
Probably the same thing.
So, I have to tell you, I have a policy that I don't ever talk bad about any woman that's participating in shooting sports, because it takes all of us, and they might appeal to somebody that I might not appeal to get them to draw into the sport. And so it's just that's kind of my tact. Now, I am not going to go to the range in a tank top or shorts. But if
more to the point of the the Instagram, the social media, where the girls are in the bikinis or the provocative dress with their guns. Now some of these so-called gun bunnies are excellent shooters, and again, as long as they are portraying the safety, the training aspect of it, I don't really care how they go about it. Again, it's their stick. They got a body. They want to show it. That's great. But, it's not for some people. Like you said, they appeal to a different
demographic.
Thank you, demographic. Than maybe what we could reach. I don't have the body for. I can't take my shirt off and 6-pack guns. I'm not doing that kind of stuff.
Well, I will tell you that as long as they are safe, what drives me crazy is those pictures that we see that are unsafe. As a matter of fact, we're talking about doing some parodies on those, or doing some movies where women are shooting a gun and all the things that are wrong about that picture.
Yeah.
And so it's not great when they're not really participants and they're just models or actresses, because it doesn't portray gun safety. Right now, with all these brand new shooters that are coming in, we as gun owners, and especially people that are influential in the industry, have a responsibility to make sure that we're promoting that gun safety and not projecting unsafe gun handling anywhere. And I mean, it's part of the deal, part of the job.
Yeah, absolutely. It's part of being a responsible gun owner.
Yeah.
Very good. So now it's time for the Talking Lead
Fact to fight the myths.
Karen has a Talking Lead fact to fight the myth. Karen, what is your fact to fight the myth?
So my fact to fight a myth is that an AR rifle is not an evil firearm. It actually operates exactly the same way as any other traditional rifle. There is no difference.
Very good. Just because it's black doesn't mean it's evil.
That's right. Just because you can accessorize it.
Yeah. Just because some people call it an assault rifle, improperly call it an assault rifle.
Correct. It is not an assault rifle.
It's not an assault rifle.
It's not an assault
rifle. It's a rifle.
It's a rifle. Yeah, we've had lots of discussions at the trailer because we shoot an AR inside. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of women are very apprehensive at first because it's the big scary gun.
Yeah.
And then they shoot it and they realize, oh, wait, it's adjustable, so it's going to fit you really well so you can shoot accurately. It could be a little heavy, but we use a Primos shooting stick, so we take some of that weight away. Mm-hmm. But then it's so much fun and so easy to operate, and it's not that bad. And you could add a light, you could add a sight, you could add all these things to it and make it really your own custom rifle that works great for you.
And there's Cerakoting. You could put a nice coat of paint on there and and make it look really good. Take it to that next level of coolness.
And, oh, by the way, I don't know a lot of women that really like loading magazines time and time again. And so, like, you can load some rounds in there and you can shoot and practice your skills without having to stop every 5 rounds and reload. Like, it's an awesome thing. So, it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Less recoil. Just great. They're fun guns.
And they've become lighter and lighter and lighter too, as the technology and materials has progressed and the designs cutting away extra metal. So they're really, really light nowadays. I mean, there's some that have been like around 4 pounds or less.
That's right. And that lightness doesn't make it more recoil. It still has the great, I always get it backwards. So your gun technical people will say this, but you know that the way the gas escapes from the gun, it really dissipates the recoil. And so you don't have to, your
and there's recoil mitigators that you can put on there, that help with that too. With that anyway, that's a great fact to fight the myth.
Thanks.
I like that. That's a very good one. Very good one. So now let's hit Karen with the
new guy, and sometimes a girl. Questions.
So, what is your earliest memory of shooting a firearm?
Yep, my very first time was in my late 20s on Memorial Day weekend on the backside of Pikes Peak Mountain. And it's when I think I told you earlier, I shot the rifle at a Gatorade bottle, and I shot it to where the little orange cap popped off. Yep. And then I just kept drilling that cap, and every time I hit it and it popped in the air, I would giggle like a girl. Funny. But I would giggle, and I absolutely loved it and the confidence that it gave me. It's great.
Do you remember which rifle you were shooting?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
That's like asking me what kind of Corvette my husband drives. I have no idea. It's silver.
That's good. Was it a 22? You know what caliber it was?
No, it wasn't a 22. It was...
Was it a bolt action rifle or was it a semi-auto rifle?
I think it was a 270. Okay. I really think it was a 270. But I could be wrong. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, that's a good one to start off on. Yeah. And you were popping the cap.
I was popping the cap.
Very nice.
It was fun.
And you mentioned this earlier that you have family members that are military law enforcement. Do you have any military law enforcement background?
So I worked for the Army as a civilian, though. So I wasn't a soldier, but I was a Department of Army civilian. I retired after 22 and a half years. to run Shoot Like a Girl full time. But I had a very great career. I worked in military personnel most of my career, where I got to take care of soldiers, which was a really honor for me. And then I moved up to be the chief of operations for personnel for the Army Material Command, and then retired as an XO for the chief technology officer. So I had a great career. Started out as a GS4, retired as a GS14, and
nice.
Loved every minute of it. Loved every minute.
Nice, yeah. So, what is your next? You're an archery person, right? You prefer the archery over the rifle?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. What is your next piece of kit that you just as soon as I get the opportunity, I'm going out and I'm going to buy that? It could be a gun, could be a bow, could be a piece of kit. What is it?
I'm going to buy ammo.
Good luck with that.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Good luck finding it.
No, if I were going to, so I don't currently own a 10 millimeter pistol, but I've shot them several times, and I've loved every single different kind that I've shot. And so I've told my husband that I would like to have a collection of 10 millimeter pistols.
Nice.
Like one of every. So
one of each.
Exactly.
One each. That's nice.
Yeah.
Trying to remember my questions. When it comes to pop culture and, just relaxing, getting away, escapism kind of deal, what is your go-to, whether it's a movie, a TV show, a book, or some other means? What's your escapism?
Oh, I watch Last Man Standing just because it makes me laugh.
Which one is that? Tim Allen?
Tim Allen, and he runs like a Bass Pro Shops kind of deal, and he's just hilarious. It's very, it just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I've watched a couple episodes of that. It's pretty good.
Yeah, but I don't have a lot of time for that. In all honesty, it's really.
I can imagine. Busy. Yeah, I can imagine. Definitely. Do you do the social medias much?
I don't. I try to get on there because I watch what our company's doing, because we have a team that does our social media, and I make sure it stays with our voice. But
I noticed there's not a lot of pictures of you on there, because I was going through trying to find a picture of you. I was like,
yeah. So I do that on purpose. So I am the face of the company. People remind me of that all the time. But I don't want Shoot Like a Girl to be the Karen Butler show about Karen Butler, because Shoot Like a Girl is really about that experience that we can give to other women. And so we try to really share that spotlight, so to speak, with everybody. Because there's plenty of people out there that are shining the spotlight.
But you should do 1 in 10 at least. Like 1 in 10 posts should have you on there.
I'll tell the team.
Okay.
My picture is on the side of the truck, the semi tractor. So
there you go. That's nice and big exposure.
That's big. Yep. I told the guy he had to cut out my back fat.
Got no back fat.
Just kidding.
So money be damned, laws be damned. What would you own or do?
Oh gosh, what a great question. So I would go hunt red stag in Ireland, which I currently can't do because it's against the law in Ireland. You can't do it.
But laws be damned. So there you go.
Laws be damned. I would go hunt red stag. So my family heritage is Irish. And our crest is a red stag. And so I know that my family lived off of the red stag there. So I would want to go archery hunt red stag in Ireland and then feel like I contributed to my heritage.
Awesome. That's a great answer.
Thanks.
That's probably one of the best answers that we've had for that question. I like that.
Yeah, good. I like being the best.
If you could spend the day at the range with any one person, group of people, whether they're still alive, past, or fictional, who would you like to spend the day at the range with?
Well, Todd for sure, but I would like to spend the day at the range with.
It could be a historical, could be a fictional.
I'm sure everyone would expect me to say something, but I'd say really kind of Teddy Roosevelt, just because I'm a big conservation nut, and it would be nice to kind of ask some questions about his theories on conservation and all of that. So maybe Teddy Roosevelt. I don't know. That's a really tough question because there's so many people that if I could go today to the range with them,
you could do a group. You could do a group of people. So Teddy Roosevelt. Who else would you add in there?
Oh, well, I'd bring Brenda Valentine just because she's one of my favorite people. She was the first lady of hunting and was doing this way before any of us. She broke all the glass ceilings so women could have a place at the table here. So I'd bring Brenda Valentine, Teddy Roosevelt. I'd bring my dad because my dad and I never shot together before he passed away. Yeah. So I'd say that's probably good.
That's a good mixture right there. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And Todd. Don't forget Todd.
No, you said Todd. He was the first one. He was like Todd. You were the very first that she mentioned. So if you listen to this.
So Todd really is, because I got introduced to shooting sports, to shooting a gun, but Todd really is the one that helped me develop that passion for firearms even beyond, because I hadn't even met Todd when I first shot a firearm. And when I met him, I was shooting archery all the time, and I'd be like, come to the range with me. He's like, I'm a cowboy. Like I shoot guns. And so we went to the range. I went with him shooting guns, and he'd go to the range with me shooting bows. And it was really a great way for us to build this relationship together.
Bond.
Our was kind of built on shooting sports, and I'm very lucky because he works hard with me and tries to help me be a better shooter every day. So it's good, and he's really great. So he was a Marine Corps first sergeant when he retired. He's retired Marine. And I tell everybody I'm one of the luckiest people in the world because I have my own personal first sergeant. And so when there's ever a big dilemma that I have, or I can go to him, and I don't know what they do to Marines, but they do something to them.
They're a different cut, aren't they? Yeah.
He will have the clearest, crystal clear answer that you'd ever thought, and I think I'm the luckiest woman in the world to have him in my corner.
That sounds like he's pretty damn lucky too. So.
Yeah, I hope so.
Karen, you did it. You made it through the show. You made it through the facts to fight the myth, the Jackwagon Train, the new guy, and sometimes the girl questions, which you did excellent on. Tell everybody where they can check out Shoot Like a Girl, your social media, your website, and coming to a town near you.
Yeah, so shootlikeagirl.com. But please, we're stuck in the Instagram algorithm heck. Yeah. So please follow us on Instagram. We are SLG Inc. 2. So SLG Inc. 2. Or you can just type Shoot Like a Girl and you'll find us too. You'll see our logo to know we've got some spoofers out there.
There are spoofers out there. When I was looking for you, I was like, it took me a minute to find the right one. But you go to your website and your website links to it. Yeah,
I'm tracking them down right now. You trust me on that one.
Yeah, so I hope you get them.
We don't roll over. So we've got the right people looking into how we fix that. So it's not only trademark infringement, logo infringement, but it's just darn right wrong. And I hate criminals. Criminals suck, man.
They're just jackwagons. They're jackwagons.
They are jackwagons. Yeah. We used to call them jack pipes, which I don't know if it's the same thing or not. But
well, jackwagon came from the Gunny. That was like one of his terms, calling people jackwagons. Yeah. So that's how we came up with the Jackwagon Train. But he actually does the introduction to that.
Yeah, I listened to some of your podcasts today.
Oh, okay, cool.
I wanted to be prepared.
Look at you doing the research.
I know, but I didn't listen all the way. I didn't listen all the way to the end for these other questions, or I'd had really scripted answers.
Yeah. Well, I don't do it to every. It's just new guys and girls. Good. Yeah.
I'm new. Yeah.
Every show's a little bit different. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you did a great job, and I really appreciate the opportunity. And I hope that people can go and look at our schedule and find us, and it's worth the drive. We've had people drive several hundred miles to come see us. So If we're in the area, stop by and see us. If your listeners tell me that they heard us here, I'll tell them to tell Krista or Karen
Get a little
that they heard
something.
you here. We'll get them something.
Nice. There you go, lead heads. You can go to their website. It is shootlikeagirl.com, and under their events, and it's got a list of where they're going to be coming to a town near you. And I read them off earlier in the show, but hopefully, like I said, maybe we can talk and work something out and get you guys here in Tennessee. We've got a big Cabela's here in Tennessee too. So
yeah, I know we've been there.
Nashville.
Yeah, we've been there.
We would love to have you. And some of these events that go on. What's that?
I think it's Bass Pro in Nashville.
Yeah, it's Bass Pro. Yeah, Bass Pro Cabela's.
Same thing.
You know, they're the same thing. And make sure you go and show some love to all our sponsors, the Talking Lead podcast, Mitchell First Tactical, Kel-Tec, Seal One, Occam Defense Solutions, Factory 47, where you can get your exclusive Talking Lead AK Corner t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, 1776 United, which they fell into that algorithm on social media, and their Facebook page was shut down because of 1776. They are banning anything hashtag 1776 United. Isn't that ridiculous? Jackwagons. Yes, exactly. Jackwagons. So go show James at 1776 some love and buy the original Talking Lead logoed t-shirts there, and that's where you're going to get your Lead Head Brigade t-shirts and patches at 1776united.com. But again, Karen, thank you so much. Guys, go check out Shoot Like a Girl, and take your wife, your daughter, your grandmother, your aunts, whoever it may be, just a friend, to the range. Show them the new life, the 2A life.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't assume just by their gender, by their personality, that they wouldn't be interested in going. Ask the person least likely that you would never think would want to go, and you might find that they want to go.
Exactly. You won't know until you ask. So, Leadheads, until the next episode, as always, keep your loved ones close.
And your firearms closer. And if you get a chance, take your loved ones, your ladies to the range, and ladies, take your men to the range, and go have a great date.
Because Valentine's Day is coming up.
And shoot like a girl, right in the middle.